Hello, darlings. Thank you for tuning in to Living Out Loud with Loretta, the podcast. I'm your host, Loretta Nkwacha. Now, like many of you, I'm a parent, I have friends, a life partner, I work in my home, I work outside my home, I have a social life. Well, I try to. It's hard to balance all of this and fit in some me time without feeling guilty. It's hard, but not impossible. Each week, listen to parents from all walks of life as they share their stories of the pursuit of equilibrium, that beautiful thing we call balance. And just for fun, I'll end each episode with something that helps me maintain some balance. A live performance of songs that bring me joy. If you love music too, then that's another thing we have in common. So make a request in the comments below and we can enjoy the song together on a future episode, all while listening and learning what my guests have figured out. A balancing act that works for them so that they can still live their life out loud. Darlings, welcome to another episode of Living Out Loud with Loretta. I am literally brimming, I am grinning, and I am spinning. I have just spoken to the most incredible woman. She's an inspiration. Yeah, I keep using the word inspiration. I really don't want you to think that I use that word lightly, because truly I only want people on my show and really in my life that I find to be an inspiration. So I watched this movie a few weeks ago, and I'm pretty sure I posted about it. This movie, Namaste Wahala. It's a star-crossed lovers story between two different cultures, Nigerian and Indian, them wanting to be together, and their love is real, their love is, it was vast, it was beautiful, but their families disagree with this union. Anyway, it's a beautiful story, beautiful music. The India meets Nigeria, Bollywood meeting Nollywood. So fantastic, entertaining, heartbreaking, inspiring, all of that stuff. Anyway, I say all that to say, I have just had a fantastic conversation with the director, Hamisha Daryani Ahuja. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited and so honored that she agreed to talk with me. Our conversation was very revelatory. Ooh, that's a good word, right? I didn't even know that Nigeria was full of a lot of, Indian people. I really didn't know that. That shows kind of, you learn something new every day. Anyway, watch the movie, listen, and watch my chat with the fabulous Hamisha Daryani Ahuja. Welcome to another episode of Living Out Loud with Loretta. I'm not gonna lie, I am fanning out. For those of you that follow me, I'm pretty sure about 3 or 4 weeks ago, I made a big post about this movie that I watched that I thought was amazing. Anyway, I went on the stalk. I started hunting and I found the incredible, talented, multi-talented, amazing, inspiring director, producer, entrepreneur, motivational speaker, author, and actress, and mother. Her name is Hamisha Daryani Ahuja. Welcome.
Thank you, Loretta. You're so kind. I love that introduction. It just made my day.
Darling, you don't understand. When you said, sure, okay, I'll do your podcast, I was like, wow, oh my goodness gracious me. I have been talking about this movie, as of course the whole world has been, since it was released on Netflix, I think February 14th, right?
Valentine's Day, yes.
Valentine's Day, perfect day to release a movie called Namaste Wahala. Now, those of us that either have African roots or not even maybe, you've probably heard the word Wahala. We know that's like hassle, trouble. Namaste Wahala. Explain how and why you put those two words together.
So when even before we had the story, I knew that I wanted Wahala in there because Wahala is just a word we use all the time here. As you said, it means trouble. And then Namaste is hello in Hindi. And I figured that these are the two most known words in either language. So even if someone not from Nigeria, not from India watched it, they would immediately realize, wait a minute, there's going to be some Indian in there and there's going to be some Nigerian in there. So that was really the rationale behind it. And really, it is trouble. Hello, trouble. So the definition sort of covered the story.
I love it. Oh, you've just given me the title of my podcast because I was like thinking of adding Bollywood, Nollywood in there. Oh, hello, trouble. I'm just going to do the translation. Perfect. Thank you. I want to go back to the beginning. First of all, I am absolutely intrigued about the fact that I read a lot about you and the fact that you live in Nigeria and you've lived there for years, right? Okay.
So I grew up here.
Okay, you grew up there. Tell me, I want to hear your story. How did that happen?
So my parents are from here. I'm like third generation living in Nigeria. My parents have business here. My husband has business here. I mean, we've literally grown up in Lagos. I went away for school and to work. I went to boarding school in the UK, and then I did my university degree in Canada. My postgrad in Switzerland, basically all over the world, worked in London for a bit. And then I came back to Lagos again 11 years ago. So I grew up here and then I moved back again 11 years. So really predominant part of my life has just been in Lagos. So when people ask me where I'm from, it's here, it's home.
I love that. I so love. I don't know why. I mean, my parents are from Nigeria. I am from the Igbo tribe, but I was born in London. So where did you go to school in London?
I went to ACS in Surrey. So it was an American school, American boarding school. And I mean, I tell people this all the time. That's where the background comes from. I feel like I was living with the United Nations because people from all over the world coming there. My accent's complicated because it was UK, but it was an American school. Then I went to Canada. So it's a little bit of a mix of everything.
I do hear it when I've heard you on interviews. And I'm like, I hear British, but a lot of the, like when I was in Nigeria as a very, very young girl from like 8 till 11, when they would speak English, it would have an English accent. And then the more time that I spent in Lagos, it would kind of have an American accent. I feel like it is a mixture now for my friends. Right? Yeah. Okay. So tell me about your history when it comes to work. So you said you worked a little bit in England, but you weren't working in the entertainment field. What were you doing?
So when I went to Switzerland, I had my postgrad in hospitality. So then I did a management trainee at the Landmark Hotel in London. I was there for a year and it was wonderful. And then I moved back here and I opened a restaurant. That was another dream. I initially wanted to be a coffee shop, but it ended up being this fine dining, bistro style brunch restaurant. So it was a lot of work. I did that for 7 years, expanded into a mall, expanded into a school canteen. And then, while I was running these restaurants simultaneously, I got into the self-development field. I don't know if you know Lisa Nicolls. Have you heard of Lisa Nicolls?
Yes.
So I met her at Afest. There's this group of people. I don't know if you've heard of Afest. Afest is, gosh, I'm really going into my history. It's basically this group of people that come together. Vishen Lakiani started it. And it's basically TEDx meets Burning Man. And you have like TEDx during the day and then parties in the night. And it's like you need to be a business owner, but you also are spiritually evolved and you want to change the world. So that changed my life when I attended this conference. And I met Lisa there. I trained with her, and then I became a motivational speaker. And I started doing self-development courses called my anchor course is called The Pursuit of Happiness. And I've trained companies like Coca-Cola, the YPO, and groups of people on just how to be happy. And so while I was doing that, I realized what I wanted because one of the biggest tools I advocate in the course is dreaming big and going after your biggest dream. And yeah, I saw you. So exactly. So when that happened, I was also sort of, siphoning out of the restaurant was just not doing it for me anymore. I went through a bit of a negative spiral. When I'd expanded, I was also pregnant and I left and I went to Canada to give birth and I left in the hands of my manager, who wasn't the most honest person. So when I came back with a newborn, I was here picking up the pieces of all these establishments. So when that happened, I'm like, you know what, it's time. I just knew that I didn't want to close the restaurant. So again, I believe in the law of attraction as well. And with the course and all the coaching and the tools that I was using, I managed to get it acquired. by an entertainment company. So I'm no more operationally involved. I have a share and I'm on the board, but I officially got to stop running it, which was just the best thing after 7 years. And that is when I said, you know what, now that I have this time, it's time to run after that dream. And run I did. So, and that's happened like a year and a half ago. So.
I mean, if you are not the poster child for not just any human going after their dream, I love the fact, you know, your talks, your whole sort of the umbrella of your talks and everything, what you are teaching to companies like Coca-Cola, like you mentioned, the pursuit of happiness, which obviously all of us as human beings, you know, that is something that we are going for forever. And I think one of the songs on the soundtrack of Namaste Wahala, it's you talking at the end. And I was thinking, oh, I didn't know that you were the director at that point, because I'm, you know, watching up to the end of the movie of all the credits, and you're speaking, you know, words. I'm guessing, I don't know if it's words that you wrote or another spiritual leader has written, but just the fact of why are we always, you know, searching for happiness outside of us? Happiness is inside of us, you know, and I don't know if it's then when you realize that it is inside of you, then you do have the power, you do have the courage to chase those big dreams. So I love that you were like, okay, I'm managing to get rid of something that no longer serves me or serves my happiness or whatever. I'm gonna go after the biggest dream, which was to get into the entertainment field, but not just as an actor. You wanted to run things, as you should. So how did you take those steps? Did you start writing first? What did you do?
So I'm glad you noticed the song. So that song was based on my workshop.
Darling, I know all of the songs. Yes, I will give you a mashup of all of them. I will sing them all to you right now.
That's awesome. So yes, that song, I mean, I had some writers on board. We did a writer's workshop, and a lot of what I teach in the workshop, actually, M.I. Abaga, who's a rap artist, did the rap for me. He's one of the biggest rap artists in Nigeria. So he attended my workshop, and I'm like, hey, let's do a song. He's also an associate producer on the movie. And that's how we did it. And really, whatever you heard there is I mean, my course is 5 hours, but it was just a sort of like a conclusive message, and what I wanted people to hear and get, not just from the movie, but in life, right? And in regards to jumping into this field, I didn't write it, but again, I had writers' workshops. I hired screenplay writers, and that's how we started. I knew I always wanted to do an Indian-Nigerian mashup. Again, growing up here, Nigerians love Bollywood. Bollywood, ZTV is everywhere. So Z Cinema shows come to Nigeria and get dubbed in English. And I just wondered why no one had done it the other way around, where we have a Nollywood movie and with Indian influences. So that's really how it started. And literally just step by step, there are a lot of people who tell me they met me right at the start and it was just an idea in my head, but it just took on a life of its own, literally. Apart from the law of attraction that I love, and I totally believe in it, I also believe in the law of momentum. And it literally just started with maybe doing a masterclass with Mira Nair online. And then I would call somebody up that I know and be like, okay, let's have a meeting. And then that person would be like, hey, I know this person. And that's literally how, so this whole movie was made in one little cafe here. And then that's how it happened.
And it's so I want to, first of all, my background is in acting. I went to the Royal Central School of Speech and Drama in London. So the whole process of creating, whether it be a theatrical piece or a TV show or, you know, a movie, I'm very excited about actors being allowed to have a little bit of a free reign, you know, with the you know, the strong arm of the director and whatever there. But were there any scenes in this movie, which is about, you know, the love of two different people from two different cultures falling in love? It's like Romeo and Juliet, but, you know, the different cultures that potentially keep them apart. They are in love, but their families obviously oppose this union. One is Nigerian, one is Indian. The actors, who are gorgeous, of course, and look, their chemistry is fantastic. Were there any points where all of the actors, any particular scenes where the actors were allowed to just kind of, you know, do their own thing or say their own lines, basically, you know, ad lib?
So a lot. So again, one thing that I did own here is I'm a first-time director, and I had some really senior actors. I'll tell you, the father of the bride, I call her, is Oga RMD. I call him Oga. Oga over here means boss, because he is a veteran. And for me to sort of like, he's so professional though, and he gave me what I wanted, but I also wanted him to put in his, because he has so much experience. And so it was just a perfect sort of, melody of us working together. But I'll give you some examples. So my Hindi is my second language. I'm not very fluent. I speak broken Hindi. So I told the mother-in-law who I brought in from India, I'm like, listen, this scene, I really want you to just go off in Hindi and like do it. And of course I understood it. And I'd be like, come on, bring out some more Hindi. So we had a lot of fun with that. So there was a lot of playing around on set. Another big one was, if you remember the taxi scene, it's turned out to be one of the
that's what
most popular scene in the movie.
That's what I had in my head. I'm like, that had to be improvised. There had to be like
improvised. It was hilarious. So the guy who did it, now he was a taxi driver, and I only found out last minute we got him. Otherwise, that was not going to be a scene in the movie. The minute we got him as a taxi driver, I just expanded that for like 5 minutes and said, he needs more time. And he's got 7 million followers in Nigeria. He's so popular. And then what I really wanted was Hindi and Pidgin just going at it. So we practiced a few times, and what I would do is translate. So I'd be like, come on, Sujata is the actress's name. I'd be like, what would you do in India? Da, 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 da. And then I'd translate to him, and then he would give it back to her. It was so much fun. So definitely, and you could just see it, right? Like by the time they got there and they started haggling with each other, which is exactly it. We both love to haggle, Nigerians and Indians. So a lot of that,
Go on. I'm sorry. It's replaying in my head. I love it. I love it so much. It felt like there were no constrictions. Like it was just, okay, this is a real scene. This is like reality TV. We're just filming you. Go for it.
Go. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And like, especially with the language and even with Auntie J, I call her Auntie J, is Ajoki Silva, another veteran. So I would just tell her, I'd be like, look, this scene, you're talking to your daughter and you're literally telling her about your history. Can you say something in Yoruba? And sort of, again, I don't understand Yoruba, but I know she does, and I know she would do justice to it. So she would say it in English for me, but then she would say it in her own, dialect, and it just came out amazing. And she's a mummy. She's you know what I mean? So she knows. Again, it was just real a lot of the times.
Misha, you know what was wonderful? And I was actually watching it on my own. My husband had taken our 2 kids to go and visit his family. I was actually supposed to be doing my Zumba certification training, but it had to get rescheduled. So I had the house to myself. I was like, oh, it's an amazing self-care day. I loved watching it. And that particular scene kind of made me quite teary because my mother passed away in 2006 from cancer. But that scene was so reminiscent of so many scenes. I mean, not the actual topic itself, but that mother-daughter talk. And then, the mother breaking out into Yoruba. I'm not Yoruba, I'm Igbo. So my mother, in our conversations, she will break out in Igbo. I do understand it. I'm kind of like you. I don't speak it very well, but I can understand it. So that scene was so authentic. Do you know what I mean? It was really, really beautiful. And it rang so true. I loved that was in there, that genuine conversation between mother and daughter. There's no anger, there's no whatever. It's like, mummy, you went through the same thing. Yes, I know it was just about daddy's Igbo and your Yoruba, but it's the same thing. So you have to understand how I'm feeling. Oh, okay. Anyway, I'll keep going on. Okay, so this is your first time directing. So you chose to go for a big movie as opposed to a short. Like a lot of people maybe in film school or whatever would be like, look, I'm going to do a short film first. You went for the big thing first. Why?
So again, dream big, right? If you're going to jump, you might as well jump. And the amount of effort that went into it, it also took on a life of its own. When I started, I was using this as a learning process. I thought this is something I'm going to learn, and I believe in doing, because with hospitality, I did study it, but what I learned in the restaurant, I can't equate to what I learned at school. It's really more about being hands-on. So in this case, instead of going for a course or going to a school, I said, you know what, let me learn on set. And initially the movie was just meant to go to cinema. We started with Africa. We said we'll do Nigeria cinemas, and then as and how we'll take it step by step. I did know I wanted it to end up eventually on Netflix, but usually what would happen is if once it goes to cinema, then it goes as a library in Netflix, and sometimes it's global, sometimes it's not. But then the pandemic happened, and I was chatting with Netflix for a while. It took 6 months to chat with them, but it was just so exciting when they said, you know what, we're happy with it and we'd like to make it a global release on Valentine's Day. Like, So that's what I'm saying. I think while shooting it, I realized maybe this was meant to just go a bit bigger than it was. And that's it. Like, it's just, step by step. And I love Lagos because you're able to do that here. There's so much talent. There's so much Nollywood's amazing. And I learned that as well while doing this movie. Everybody from like the script supervisor sitting next to me to like the actors, they're so professional. And it's amazing that Netflix also just landed that year. So I finished shooting the movie, and 2 months later, they landed in Nigeria saying, "Hey, we're here to buy content." It couldn't have been better timing, right? So it was, if you learned the line in the movie, "What's meant to be is meant to be."
Oh my gosh! And not only what's meant to be is meant to be, but that you call it the law of momentum or law of attraction. So kind of the way I put it is basically, Jesus or the Lord or the universe helps those that help themselves. So if you do a little bit, if you show the interest and show that the work that you're willing to do, then the universe will be like, all right, okay, she's doing that. All right, let's step in and give her a hand. I love that. Dreaming big, not being afraid to do it, just knowing that, okay, this is going to be my school. I'm going to use this platform to learn on the job. Fantastic. Literally no fear, or facing the fear and doing it anyway, which is
lots of fear.
a tattoo on my arm here. Face the fear and do it anyway.
Do it anyway. That's Lisa Nicolls' motto. Yeah. And then she's like, do it, but do it scared. Like, what? I mean, if you met me like a few years ago, I was a scaredy-cat. I couldn't get on stage. And so that's why things change. And I think what happens is when you do, the more you do and the more passion you put in, and if you really have that goal, and when I say the law of attraction and all that, I don't advocate only putting a dream out there and it'll come. You have to work for it. So it's a mix of everything, putting the goal out there, thinking of your next steps, having good intentions as well. I also believe, I've noticed with a lot of businesses, any business that has something good in it. So as much as I wanted this to be a romantic comedy, as much as I wanted to be a lot of fun, I did weave in some messages like the pursuit of happiness, women empowerment. And I've always noticed that when someone does that, it happened with my workshop. I just started my workshops and my first workshop sold out it was weird. And then the next thing I know, I was invited to a women's group with and then after that, my first corporate gig was with Coca. So it just took on its life of its own. And yes, I'm not saying I didn't work hard for it, but some businesses went a lot further. And I feel like just if you're doing something good or some good message going out on its own, it'll just go further because it's meant to spread.
And the fact that it makes you in a fantastic position to be an inspiration to other, not just people. I think I opened with this, but just women in general. And the fact this is Women History Month. Quite frankly, I think beginning of March, I was like, yeah, I think women should be celebrated all year round, quite frankly. But hey, I'm biased, but it's that there's so much that we have as, you're a mother, you're a wife, you're a businesswoman, you're going for your dreams still. You're not just saying, okay, I'm settling for the fact that I have a human being in my life. That's a big responsibility in itself, but you're not settling for that. It's like, no, I still have dreams. I still have aspirations, or I'm going to go for them. Because I think if you're lucky enough to get to your last day, your last hour, your last minute on this earth, and you're awake and you can feel it, you can see it, and it's happening. I don't want to be lying there going, oh, I should have done this. Oh, why couldn't I have done that? Oh, I should have. No, I want to be like, yeah, I'm ready to go. I love it. Okay, I'm not going to keep you as much as I would like to keep you here forever. My final question. Why must it be my final question? Okay. How on earth, being a wife, and I think you've celebrated 10 years, 11 years of marriage now? Is that right? Almost 11 years.
Oh, you're
right?
Good.
Okay. Girl, if I'm going to do it, I better know what I'm talking about. They right? So, and your baby, how old is your baby?
He's 4.
Oh my gosh, he's a baby. Yeah, oh my gosh. Okay, so how are you balancing all of this?
So that's a good one. With the restaurant, I found that it was a lot of hours that I put in. And sometimes maybe I would say that was quantity hours over quality hours, just because I was so new and I thought that I just have to put a lot of time in. And it's really, once I saw that restaurant, I also got a little bit of that good advice from Afest when I went. I mean, Vishen, I love his teachings. He said one of his highest profit days was when he was sitting on the beach having a drink. And, you know, with young blood, sometimes, I don't know, I had that sense of guilt. Then, oh, I need to be working more. The more hours you put in, the more output. And it was just that statement that changed things in my head. And my husband is really aligned with me as well. He came to Afest as well. He's super supportive. And I think that's a huge thing as well, that we have to be aligned with your partner and both of you, you know, see it the same way, that it doesn't have to be quantity. And that's also when I pulled out of the restaurant, because I knew that in this business, it's super hands-on hospitality, especially here in Nigeria. You do need to be around a lot. So I realized that's not what I want. And it took 7 years to get there. I wanted the balance. And what's ironic and interesting with the movie is I also, like I said, I learned how to balance on the job. And by doing this first movie, I now know the timings. So pre-production, the longer you spend in pre-production, the better. And pre-production can be very flexible. And with our new pandemic rules, you can work from home. There's really no rule. I'm learning how much you can do on Zoom. You don't have to. I mean, of course, this was pre-COVID, so I was doing live meetings, but it was so much easier to manage my time than having to be at a restaurant all the time. Like, I was able to work from home. Kids are resilient. And that's another amazing thing, because I feel like a lot of times it's important to have quality time over quantity time. So I have the ups and downs. So when I was on set, we shot the movie in 20 days. Again, I knew I was going to be AWOL for those 20 days. Again, and so this is where a partnership comes in. So me and my husband had a discussion, and like, he took over baby, I call him baby Siddharth, and he came on set. So he, like, the crew and cast are all friends with him now. He had a little crush on Didi, and they're like, they have their own little relationship. It's really cute. So these things, you know, it works. And of course, we're very blessed here because we have a lot of help. So I have a nanny, you know, and it's just, he's a happy child, but he's happy because we're happy. And I think that that's also an answer to what you're saying, that as much as, yes, my role as a wife, my role as a mother, as a family member is important, and it is priority. You also have to be happy, and you also have to go after your dreams because they're watching you. So it could be one side where you're at home, and I know that if I'm not doing something, that's when I'm at my least happy. So as long as we're balancing it, and I think I've learned a lot more with the movie than with the restaurant, because I'm home a lot more. Even post-production, I was meant to fly to India. And again, I did fly to India for a week. So I was away again. And with the editor, we edited the movie, and I was meant to go again for post-production, but then the world shut down. And it's so ironic how that happened. And I got to spend like 6 months straight with my husband and kid for 6 months, 24/7. And I got to then virtually do the post-production. So I was meant to do it in a month in India. Instead, I had 6 nice long months. And together with the post team, we learned how to do it all virtually. So everything there's a big picture, right? And the universe does conspire to help you out a little when you feel like you might be struggling. Right.
It's interesting, because that's the story I'm hearing a lot from a lot of people, not just myself, but this pandemic, if we're lucky and we weren't adversely affected, so no one got sick and no one in our family, you know, passed away from it. The positive side is that we got to spend all of this quality time with our family, you know, which we never would have had before. We were forced to stand still for a minute. Be in your home. We're lucky. We have roofs over our head. You know, we have food in the fridge and whatever else. It's like, okay. For us, it was like a long staycation. It was like incredible. This was amazing. Wake up every day, you're smiling. Okay, what game should we play today? Let's start doing dance parties every night. Woo-hoo!
Right. Oh, you had a similar one. That we would bake together. Things I never knew or never. I just didn't have the time, and now it was like the world stopped for us.
Yes, yeah. I love it. Okay, so next one. Oh, total final question.
No worries.
What should we expect from the most fabulous Hamisha? What are you doing next? And can I be in it? Not really.
So, right. So this is what I was saying, right? Now I need to jump again. And it's there's a lot. There's so much potential. There's so many potential collaborations. I want to do something, but I want to make sure now, after I've seen what happened with this was literally my school. So can you imagine, now I have this education, I have the schooling. What do I do with that, right? And this was a Netflix original globally. So I need to beat that. And so not only beat it, but also make sure there's impact. So I'm going to take some time off now, as I mentioned to you, and actually come up with something that would be the right next step. There are a lot of things in the works, which I can't talk about, but definitely one of the things that's top of mind is reality TV. I love reality TV, documentaries. Definitely going to continue with the Indian-Nigerian cross collaboration. In fact, I think there's so many more we can have fun with. It doesn't have to only be Indian-Nigerian. We can go into religion. I purposely chose not to go too deep. It was my first one I wanted to be, but there's so much more if you went further, and we could have gone further, but I chose not to. So maybe the next one I'll be a bit riskier. So lots and lots. I'm hoping I'll be able to at least talk about one of them soon. But yeah, lots of exciting stuff.
I cannot wait. When you are ready to talk, I am ready to listen. So I'm so happy that you're doing this. I'm so happy that you're willing to take the chances or take the risks and just go for it. So I'm very excited to keep watching this movie. It's amazing that it's on Netflix. The timing of Netflix coming to Nigeria when you were ready, it was absolutely, the universe made it happen the way it did. I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy for us being able to watch it. I'm so honored that you said yes, you wanted to come and talk to me. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, universe.
I wouldn't say no to you. You're awesome. I love your energy. I've always said this to you. Like, you're amazing. Yeah.
Thank you. I don't know what else to do with it. This, to me, like this, even podcasting, this is as a result of pandemic. I'm like, all right, let's try and learn how to do this. You know, I love being able to get to meet people like you and hear people's stories, because everyone has a story, you know, and I'm nosy and I like to talk. So give me a story. Thank you. Thank you. All right. I'm going to let you go. Thank you. Thank you, Hamisha. I'm so honored. Enjoy your time off. And, you know, take your risks, don't take risks, whatever it is you want to do what's authentic to you. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you. And namaste.
Namaste.
No wahala. No wahala. Okay.
No wahala. Maybe that'll be the name of the next one.
Yay. All right. I'm going to let you go. Otherwise, I'll just keep talking at you. Thank 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 you. Enjoy your weekend. Bye, my darling. Bye.